Hello, hello, crossroads, witches and other interesting magical beings. And an extra special for those in which are leaning on, I want to start a coven group. I want to be the facilitator. I want to stand center. Come on with me down this journey, all right? I guess I should my own credentials first, that I am the founder of the House of Witchcraft. We are a modern folk witch tradition. We identify as crossroads witches. It has been a 40-year journey for me on coming into space and to be where I am today. So I'm going to start by telling you, this is not a quick and easy path. All right, if you're thinking that you're going to start something and in 3 months it's going to be amazing, maybe there's a chance. I'm not going to say no, but I'm going to tell you more than likely not. Instead, what I'm going to tell you is that this is a commitment that you make to yourself. All right, this is that calling that you got. I did not think I was going to be a high priestess when I was a young witch in my 20s. If I had, I probably would have taken better notes, all right? I was a happy young witch. I enjoyed community, and at that time I was 20-something. Having fun, trying to figure myself out still. Who I started my 20s as and who I ended my 20s as were very different people, very formative years. All right. A little off track, but that's some background on me. Now, you want to start a coven, you want to start a group, a tradition, whatever you want to call it, a grove, all right, the circle, all sorts of things. You have to decide that word, okay? What I want to start with is you got to know your flavor, okay? I just talked about the fact that House of Witchcraft is a magical tradition. We are a crossroads witchcraft tradition. All right, we are what is considered a big T tradition, where we have a way of doing things, we have bylaws, we have our festivals, we have a complete magical system in place, all right? And you're like, well, I don't have that, Taren. No, you don't yet. But you start out with a little t of tradition, and that's your flavor. What is your flavor? What do you bring to the space? What is going to hold the space together? And you're like, well, I want everybody to come and we're all going to kumbaya. Yeah, that sounds great. That's what big open circles are for. All right, we're talking about your group. Your group has to have a commonality, all right? That's where the, hedge witches get together, all right? And they all enjoy each other's company. What I don't want to say type because that sort of narrows it in, but are you going to work within the Wiccan philosophy? Is that where your tradition, where you're drawing from? Are you drawing from folk magic tradition? If you are drawing from a folk magic tradition, which particular one? Where is your flavor? All right, what's your magic? And that is the light you shine. Like energy attracts like energy, all right? And a lot of times they'll be like, well, I don't know if I'm good enough, if I'm qualified, if I can do this, all right? I'm going to give you a secret about me. Yeah, I don't think I was qualified either, all right? I started I put a calendar. I'm like, okay, everybody can come out to the farm on full moon. What are we going to do? Well, this is what I think we should do. And it was based on what I was doing, my personal experience, my personal practice, the practice that I'd been taught from, the coven I was part of before. And then I modified it some, all right? And it became an expression of what the group was doing over time. I hope that makes sense. But it's really, if you're an herb witch, arts and crafts witch, one of the art witches, that's the flavor. That is your little T tradition. I want to get a coven together, a tradition together, where we do use a lot of arts and crafts type thing, where we do use a lot of herbs, or if you are into the high magic, ceremonial magic, then this is the flavor. This is your little tea that you're bringing. And you need to know what your little tea is, all right? The biggest way to fail is trying to please everyone, because you will please no one. Back to, I just want everybody and anybody to show up together. Well, not everybody shows up and gets along with everybody. If your flavor is vampiric magic, sanguine, working within blood, both physically and energetically, you probably aren't going to do well with some of the love and light people, all right? If you're really into meditation and dancing, probably not going to want to have high magic people. Get a little bit of it, but your group's not going to go very far. It'll be interesting. Can you invite me, is what I'm saying at this point, because I just want to come and see all of this happen. But the biggest failure when starting out with a group is you don't have a little T. You don't know your tradition, your flavor, where your light is. And you need to know that before you start anything. I'm going to start a coven, and we are going to, if you are a particular deity, a goddess, you're like, we are going to honor Hecate. Our wheel of the year, our calendar will be around Hecate. Then other folks who are part of that will come and participate. You'll have a great time together, all right? When you're dealing with folk witch traditions, bring them. We have so many little teas, so many traditions, so many little flavors, all right? And in your authentic voice, what do you want out of that group? What are you seeing, all right? Is this where you want to see dancing? So you're leaning to more ecstatic style magic, all right? Are you wanting to put on little mini classes where every time you get together, there's a little workshop? Or do you want it to be a ritual? Or do you only want to get together for feast days? Or do you, sabbats? All right, how do you feel about full moon, dark moons, and new moons? Yes, these are the things. You need to sit down with a piece of paper and start writing some stuff down, all right? And this is your journey. That is the most important part right now. Yes, we want people to come to our coven, all right? And I'm going to keep y'all, part of this is we're starting the Barn Witches here in Charleston, all right? We put up our little Facebook thing that's like, hey, we're doing this. A couple people signed up, and then, it sort of petered out. So what does that mean? Well, it means we're still doing it. The commitment we made was to ourselves, all right? You're going to start a group, make a 13-month, 13-moon commitment to yourself on this journey. And now, I want you to sit down and come up with a 6-month calendar, not a full year calendar. That is just too much because things change. What we do here at the house is we do the dark half of the year, which is June 21st to December 21st. We have the dark half calendar, and then we have the light half calendar, where we will sit down. In fact, we just did this last week. Was starting to work on the light half of the year calendar, where for those 6 months we look at what's important. Which full moons, because we switch between full moons, dark moons, goddess feast days, solstices, and equinoxes. And that is within our tradition. That's what the House of Witchcraft. We recognize 6 turns of the wheel, and we also have goddess feast days. And like I said, we do full moons, and we do dark moons, and once in a while we do a new moon. But we're busy. And you're like, well, where do you get all these dates from? How do you feel about it? And that's where I'm back to, this is yours to create. Are you going to celebrate the pagan, neo-pagan calendar of the wheel, all 8 turns? Do all of them resonate with you? Are you only going to do solstices and equinoxes? Do you have certain gods and goddesses you want to do their feast days and back to full moons, new moons? And we still haven't even got out to like outings and campouts yet. Second year is when we start talking about those, all right? But seriously putting in a 6-week or a 6-month schedule, okay? And once you do that, use your social media platforms, you know, your local groups, announce what you're doing, make sure you have a safe and secure space for whatever it is you are doing, and know that odds are maybe one or nobody's going to show up the first couple of times. Somehow I think it's the gods testing us, you know, and I'm like, I know how this works. What it means is I have to stay committed to the 13th moon commitment that I'm going to get out there and do something every month. I'm going to light that fire. I'm going to say those prayers. I'm going to open that crossroad. All right. And if there's one person there, I'm going to do it with them. If there's, 10 people there, 15 people there, it's not about how many people it's there. It's about me making that commitment to opening up that space. All right. This is like you're a lighthouse and you got to let your light shine. Okay. And to start out with, nobody's really going to see your light. And I think that's where people get really discouraged because they're like, oh, I tried it for 3 months and nobody came. Well, I'm like, well, that doesn't sound like a good try because most people want to sort of watch from a distance and be like, oh, they did that last month. Good. Ooh, they're doing something this month. Oh, I see they got something next month. Ooh, I think I may want to maybe go out there. They look like they got something going on. All right, we all do it. Now you have to give people time to do it, all right? And to have faith. This is standing center. You are the facilitator, and in time, as you work with these people, they will recognize you, for as the one that is doing this. But to start out with, you be walking alone, you be walking in faith, you be walking with divinity. And for right now, that's got to be good enough, okay? And, as far as am I qualified, and I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, you can. Remember what I told you. I did not plan to be here. Okay, as a high priestess, as a mama, as a founder of a magical witchcraft tradition. No, I got out every full moon and I did that full moon. Okay, and over time it built up. We talk about anybody can eat a whale one bite at a time. And that's what this is about. So the first thing you're going to do is figure out your flavor, your calendar, how you're going to set the tone, because you are going to set the tone. Unless you, like I said, want utter chaos and a group of people that really aren't associated with each other because you're trying to make everybody happy and then all of a sudden it explodes and so doesn't like you anymore and all this other stuff. Where does all that come from? Is because you didn't know your voice when you walked in the room. That's where it came from. People are looking for you to create a space. Yes, we want to allow them to have their personal experiences, but this is like building the playground, basically. You have to decide the pieces that go, where they go, and how it's going to work together to have people come out. You don't wait for people to show up and be like, hey, what do you think we should do? I want to kumbaya with everybody and I want everybody to be happy and we're all going to do it all so that we all get along. Yeah, honey, that's called utopia. All right? Even in an egalitarian coven, or an egalitarian, meaning that every voice counts within many traditions, mine included, the House of Witchcraft, we're an egalitarian. We are by consensus, we are by vote on many, many matters. And in other times, I am currently the founder of the tradition, so I get a little say-so occasionally. And being mindful never ever to abuse that authority, never to misuse that authority. That's why we have bylaws, all right? And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video, part 2. We are going to talk about rules, guidelines, and bylaws. They're not near as intimidating as y'all think, all right? And so I want to hear some thoughts on this because I'm going to be doing a complete series on, yes, you can start a coven. Yes, you can facilitate a group, all right? And in time, you will gain the experience so that, you know, you are a high priest or high priestess, where people are like, how does it happen? It happens through experience. It happens getting out there every moon, learning how to facilitate, learning what to bring, learning to be like, oh, I got to make sure I do this next time. That's where it's going to come from. It's going to come from your hard work. It's going to come from your actions and your deeds, okay? This isn't an empty piece of paper. We're going to get into the nitty gritty. Everything I told you is what we're doing right. Well, we're a big T, but everything I told you is what we're doing right here with the Barn Witches. We're starting a coven here in Charleston. What does that mean? It means that we've put it out there. We've got our calendar together. We've got our bylaws. We know what we're about. And we invited folks to come out. And thus far, we have one person who said they would come. And so we're going to get out there, do our bonfire, and dance. All right? And that's what it's about for you, walking in faith. Build it, and they will come, witch. They will come. All right. Remember, part 2, you'll see that here shortly. And with that said, get out there, fly those brooms. Have a bright, blessed day. And as always, amen, blessed be, ashe, and ebobo.